Cool, I guess it shall be call things to beginning. Hi everybody, I'm Whitney Strub, and I'm the director of the Women's and Gender Studies program here. So it's my job just to say a few very quick words and then cede the floor to Scooda and our panelists. I'll be moderating along with Keishla Rivera, who's a grad student in American Studies here. So I think our job is kind of just to potentially feed you guys questions if we need to. We may not even need to. So, and we'll watch the clock too and just sort of keep track of time. So just to sort of briefly contextualize things, for people who aren't aware, this is related to the Fireball event that will be happening this Saturday at the Robert Treat, organized by James Creedle, to whom we all owe a great debt here, and maybe we should give a round of quick applause. James got the Fireball started in 1992 as a local effort to both celebrate queer gender and sexuality, and also raise money for education around HIV and AIDS education. Something that's been sorely underrepresented in the history of Newark outside of these kind of community organizational works. And so that's what generates our event today. As you may know, we've got two panels. This is the youth panel, and then in the evening at 7, we'll be having a panel of sort of community elders who have been in the scene for a long time, talking about the 80s and 90s and activism around HIV/AIDS. And so I think that's all I really have to say. Just want to thank the Office of Student Life, the LGBTQ Diversity Resources Center that Marin Greathouse does such great work with, the Women's and Gender Studies program, the History Department, and also the Queer Newark Oral History Project, which we're hoping maybe we can get interviews with all of you one-on-one in the days and weeks to come to document all this history in even more detail. And then Keishla had a quick announcement about Twitter for anybody who wants to tweet along.
All right, so I'm gonna be on my phone, live tweeting the entire event. So if you see me on my phone, I promise I'm paying attention. Our Twitter handle is @rnorthwgs. Say that again, @rnorthwgs. And a few of the hashtags that I've been doing is #RutgersWGS, #Ballroom New Jersey, and #Fireball Panel. So find us later, and you guys can stay posted.
All right, and with that, we'll turn the floor to Scooda to get things rolling.
So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking time out your busy schedule to come and welcome us into your space. For those that don't know me, my name is Keishla, the graph and read, but my stage name is Scooda, and I'm from the house of Balenciaga. So my pronouns are pronounced as Scooda Balenciaga. On the panel with me, I have Tornado Khan. Revlon, I'm sorry, Tornado Revlon. I have Mindy 007, and I have Tyra Ebony. Yeah. So just to give you guys just a brief little background about what the ballroom scene is. The ballroom scene is a sub-community from the LGBTQ community. It's a nightlife event that basically is a competition amongst different gender, different categories. It's almost like a mini mimic of Hollywood, almost like a mock-off of the Hollywood. That's how it was introduced. That's how it was introduced to me. More so like us imitating different scenarios in Hollywood, but dictating it, putting it into fantasy world. In the ballroom scene, we have different categories. So you have things such as the voguing, which is pretty popular and mainstream nowadays. Then we have other categories such as runway. We have beauty categories, face. We have fashion categories. Then we have other categories that represent realness, and that's where you mimic or you imitate those of the straight community, living your life as a regular, blending it into heterosexual mainstream society. So my category, I walk something called schoolboy realness. So I give the illusion of a young college boy going to school. So like you see him look like a young teenage boy, young college boy going to school. And my second category is a category called old way performance, and that is the style that was more so seen in the Madonna videos with the straight lines and the edges and all over the magazines and stuff, more so like with the lines, and you see people doing that. So I'm just going to pass it along. I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves and say what category you walk.
Hi, yes, I'm Tornado. That's more so like my mainstream name overall. I go by that. My category is Butch Queen Vogue Femme, which is basically a flamboyant male who vogues. My category is based on 5 different elements, which is hand performance, catwalk, duck walk, spins, and dips. It's fun. My category is a lot more fun because we, I guess you can say, when we step into the fantasy world doing this, we don't come to it as in like a shady competition. It's more so like friendly competition. We're amongst friends. We're just battling amongst other houses. It allows us to be really creative with our dance backgrounds, because a lot of people do have other type of styles of dance. And that's basically it.
My name is Melbert Downs, but everyone calls me Mindy. I walk realness with a twist. I'm also a flamboyant boy, but realness with a twist is also you give the aura of a realness boy, a straight heterosexual man. I can pass as one, and the twist to it is I vogue, and I think vogue to me is a form of expressing yourself. That's how I vogue. When I get upset, that's when I vogue the best. When I like frustrated and I'm going through a lot, that's when I want to hit the floor the most, because that's how I get my frustration out. The first person I see in the back, you're the one I'm targeting. You're the one I'm getting, because that's how I get my frustration out.
I am Tyra Gardner, and I work at AJCRI Project Wow. I'm the crown recording there. I also go by Tyra Ebony. I walk realness and runway. I dabbled in performance. Kind of walk a little bit of everything because I just like to have fun. But my category is basically realness, and what that is a boy or a girl that can walk down the street and you can't tell that they were either gay or once born a guy or once born a girl. Like me. So that's basically what the gist of it is. It's a person that a girl that was once born a guy and that could walk down the street and you would never know. Mama can't tell, Papa can't tell, Grandma can't tell. And for girls that turn into guys, or whether regular straight guys that are really masculine and gay, but just really, really masculine, and you cannot tell that they were actually gay.
So as you hear us talking, you're going to hear us refer to language used that you guys may not be familiar with. So feel free to jump in and ask anytime, what does that term mean? So within the gay community, we have our own subculture of language, but then in the ballroom community, we have a different set of languages and forms of words that's used. So if you hear somebody referred to as a butch queen is a gay male. It doesn't matter if he is masculine or feminine. It's just the term used to identify a male figure. A drag queen is someone that is born a male, but they sometimes dress in drag for the shows. They do it for enjoyment. They do it for the competitions. A femme queen, most commonly referred to today as a transgender, but in ballroom terms, she's called a femme queen, and that's somebody that born a male, but have begun to do hormonal treatments and have begun to take breasts. You start developing breasts and transitioning to a woman. Any other terms? When you hear trans men or trans man, that is the opposite. So they were born female, and now they're taking hormonal treatment to transition to male. So as you hear us speak in some of these terms, just feel free. Shade is another terminology that's just being like catty. Gag, it's like a sense of shock.
BNG.
BNG, which is me, the epitome of BNG. That means you just real, like you just like yourself. You're not acting like nobody else. You coming like how you would be regular in the streets, whether you're in boy clothes, whether you're in girl clothes. You just real BNG.
Yes, it's ghetto fabulous.
Yeah, I know. I'm the BNG.
Any questions?
So as you hear, so my house name is Balenciaga. His is Revlon. Hers is Ebony. So some of the houses are modeled after famous brands
Clothing designs
and mainstream, such as like clothing designs, famous makeup, famous people. So for example, there's several houses like the House of Balenciaga, the House of Chanel, the House of Mizrahi. So those are named after like famous brands and famous labels like Isaac Mizrahi. But now they're starting to have some like the House of Tom Ford is a newly Emerge House, as well as the House of Balmain.
The Burla.
So I have a question.
Okay.
How do each of you prep for your day in the ballroom scene? Like before you get to perform, like is there any music? Is there any way you get into makeup or anything? Because I just know how I get ready for like my girls' night out, so I just wanted to see how you guys get ready.
Yes, it's kind of the same. The way that I prep, I always have to put in my mindset that I'm doing this for fun. This is for fun. It's not just because of it's not because I know I'm better than anyone else or I'm just doing it for the wins. I'm doing it just to showcase my talent. So first off, of course, I have to listen to music. I get into my zone, or just relaxing and keeping myself good, because no matter how big you are in the scene, you still have nerves. You still get to that point where you get nervous when you hit the stage. So you always have to pre-prep yourself before you hit the stage. You make sure you stretch. You make sure you just get yourself. You be comfortable. Be comfortable in your own skin before you hit the stage. That's how I prep.
Well, I pre-game a little differently. I may do, the stretching and stuff like that, but I also give myself positive self-talk, like, this is your grand prize, this is your money, that's all you're going there for, this is your win, to bump everybody else. All you're supposed to be focused on is the win. So that's how I prep myself.
I'm a little different than normal, but I gotta have my little music going on, let myself know that okay, I'm going out to win this cash, because it is a competition at the end of the day, and I want to win, and there's no shade. But it's all to have fun or whatever the case may be. But I also, it's not good, but I kind of down talk myself a little bit just so my friends could uplift me. So people that's around me, I seek for that support. I mean, I know it's fierce because it's all about me, but that's what I do so my friends can boost me up. I already know I'm boosted up and I'm ready, but I gotta have somebody supporting me to boost me up too. That makes me extra go in and go crazy. So yeah.
Okay.
I think for me, my process is somewhat similar, but I may do some things a little different. When walking the ball, usually they release the ball categories or the theme of the ball. They usually release it like a month ahead of time or several months ahead of time, so that way you could get an idea of what your specific category is calling for, what type of effect you want to bring it in. So what I usually do is I usually make sure, like a month ahead, I usually like to make sure my effect is on point. So that way I could practice in it, make any alterations if I need to, look in the mirror, take 1,000 selfies. And I make sure that I'm comfortable, within myself and in my element when I'm putting on my effects, so that way I can get into character, I get into, whatever fantasy role is calling for that night.
Oh, we have a question.
First of all, pleasure to see you all up here. I know it's not easy to sit in a bunch of fun and tell your story, but I have 2 questions. Well, some of it's kind of easy for us. So. But one thing I want to know is, okay, before you even got to the ballroom scene, I'd like to know, how did you wind up even getting into the ballroom scene? And number two, when it's all said and done, for you as individuals, because we all have our own goals, what do you hope to get out of it, and when do you see yourself walking away from it?
That was a great question. I haven't actually thought about when I'm going to stop, but I did give myself a time frame by, because I'm a part of 2 ballroom genres, which is the mainstream ballroom, which I'm an Ebony, and then the Kiki scene, which is a sub of the ballroom scene, more relaxed, not too tense, or whatever the case may be, and I'm an Old Navy. So as far as mainstream, I gave myself to at least 35, 40, just giving ages out there. I just want to have fun. I'm just enjoying it. As long as it's fun to me and I can help others or whatever get prepared for balls, help them get into, be a part of a house or whatever, let people know the experience that I've had with the ballroom scene. So as long as that is still going on, I think I'm still going to be a part. More so in the background scene than in front and on stage, because I'm getting old and my knees are bad. But to me, how did I get in the ballroom scene? I graduated from high school. I ain't gonna tell y'all that. But when I graduated from high school, a guy approached me, which his name is Bernie, and he was like, are you a da-da-da-da? And I'm like, yes. It was like, oh, yes, you look over, you look real. You walk balls and stuff like that. And I was just like, what is that? Like, I didn't really know what it was. I heard about it, but I didn't really know what it actually was until he broke it down to me and let me know, whatever. And then I checked it out, and I kind of liked it, so I stayed around.
Well, for me, it's different because I've been in the main ballroom. I've been in 9 real ballroom houses, but I never walked a real ball. I do it to prove to my best friend that I can get into any house that I want to without having to do anything. So for me, it's not really about like, you know, the main ballroom scene because I find it to be like, you know, real harsh. I'm more so focused on like the Kiki scene, helping build the younger generation, you know, the ones that get discouraged from the main ballroom scene when they try to come out and showcase their talent. You know, they're not as popular in the scene, so, you know, they get shaded, they get chopped. So, you know, we open up the Kiki scene and we give them a back door where they can, you know, showcase their talent and have a equal platform where, you know, we all can be equal. So I enjoyed the Kiki scene, and I came into the ballroom scene at like 2007, 2008. And I don't think I'm gonna be like a mainstream ballroom girl. The Kiki scene, I will always love the Kiki scene because that's where my heart lies with the younger generation and building my generation up to be better. So, yeah.
You have to explain something to me. I'm trying to do. You saying Kiki and the main scene. What's the difference between Kiki and the main ballroom? Being in a house or something. I don't know about Kiki.
The Kiki scene was established about 10 or 11 years ago in New York and in New Jersey by like some of the, you know, the older ballroom girls that found it like unfair to like the younger kids that would go to the balls and didn't have like, you know, all that to win, but they had the talent, so they opened up a back door for them where like, you know, I can walk realness with a twist in the real ballroom scene, but in the Kiki scene, I could walk as a drag because that's my escape from the real scene. What you can't do in the real scene, you can do in the Kiki scene. In the real scene, they may be harsh on you, like, you gotta walk this, you gotta walk that, but in the Kiki scene, you may want to walk something different. This gives you a chance to, you know, unleash your other side and, you know, have fun. So that's the more fun side, and now you find out, nowadays, you see a lot of mainstream people are flipping to Kiki scene because the Kiki scene is becoming so dominant and so powerful that, you know, we became a force where our balls are more structured, they're running through, we're giving away cash, and it's becoming way more better than the real ballroom scene because you go to a real ball, you have people fighting because one of their kids get chopped and, you know, something like that, but then you go to a Kiki scene, you see these kids come out with these effects, their creativity, and all the excitement that we bring into it. So, you know, that's what the kids look forward to, and that's what I love about the Kiki scene.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I started dancing probably when I was like really young. I may have been like 6 or 7. I grew up around, I have a lot of gay family members who were a part of the scene and things like that. So I always knew about it, but didn't really, you know, I was still learning myself. So probably about when I hit 16, I was in high school, and this is when I first met Scooda. We were actually, me and a couple of friends, we were all hanging out, and they were voguing, and I was like so into it because it was a style, it was a dance that I liked. So I instantly, like the first thing I learned how to do was dip. That was the first thing I learned. It was at a bus stop. I can remember it clear as day. And they went crazy for it. So I looked at it as in, okay, this is like, you know, something I want to learn. But hearing so much negative things about the scene, I didn't want to get into the scene. So it was just something I just tried to work on, you know, just do it on my own. Like, eventually I would get into the scene. So maybe probably like when I hit like 19, that's when I heard about the Kiki scene. So I felt like maybe I should start here. And when I started there, it was like from the first time I came out, I was like undefeated for like 2-3 years. And it was like, it wasn't never, you know, me doing it just because I knew I was better than everybody else, but it was just, this was fun for me. Like, I sit back now and think about how many times I won and be like, wow, I really did win like almost every ball. Like, but it was always like, it was just fun competition. I always looked at myself as like basically hearing about all the negative stuff. I always tried to go the positive route. I always tried to be the one to, you know, the generation that comes behind me, I want to influence them to be positive like I am. So I always made sure that anything I did was, you know, it was a reflection for them. And when I hit into the real scene, I started out in one house. It was the House of Tsunami, and the reason why I joined them was because they basically had the same kind of criteria that I had with myself. So I was like, okay, they're very positive. They're not into like, you know, the negative things like drugs and stuff like that. So I stuck with them, but I always wanted to be a Jordan because that was like one of the main houses to be a part of in Jersey. That was like a show-stopping house. So when I finally got my chance to do it, they did a merger at the time. They merged with another house, and the house that they merged with was like one of the guys that I was influenced by the most with Vogan, which was Pony. And from then on, it was just like everything just popped off of me. So it was like, it was perfect. And then eventually, of course, I died down a little because I felt like the scene, with me and the scene, it was like I always wanted to go further because being the fact that I finally found a style of dance that I really liked the most and I felt like I was the best at it, I always wanted to take that a lot further and go more mainstream, which is what I'm working on now. So now it's like, with the scene, with the scene now, it's like I'm in and out of the scene, but I'm also working on this mainstream things. I've done performed with a lot of different style, a lot of different artists and things like that. So it's fun.
It opened up gates.
It opened up a lot of gates, yeah. And I'm basically starting a career for myself from the scene.
Last minute career.
Yeah.
So I know you guys hear a lot about the Kiki scene and what they're referencing. So within the ballroom scene, the Kiki scene is a sub mini scene of the ballroom scene. So what that is a lot of these community-based organizations that work with HIV prevention with young adults and the LGBTQ community. What they did was they took this model of the ballroom scene and they mocked it. So they just did like an imitation of it, and they used that as a platform to capture a lot of young adults and incorporate safer sex messages within the categories to teach them subliminal messages as far as like how to safely use a condom, how to have safe sex, you know, how to, if you're out being spontaneous, how to, you know, make sure that you're protecting yourself. So that was one of the reasons why the Kiki scene was created, so that way, because they knew that HIV was very prevalent within the young black gay community, and they knew that the ballroom was of interest to the young adults. So that was a way of saying, hey, this is an audience that is, you know, this is a large audience, let's, you know, influence or infuse safer sex messages, you know, capture that audience and, you know, still get them the education and the knowledge to move forward. For me, I remember being about like 17 years old, and it was like all my friends, I was just like coming into my sexuality, just starting to get comfortable with myself, with my family. And it was this local club in Jersey, downtown, called The Globe. And I always heard about it, and I just knew that was the hot spot to go. So one night, it was me and my best friend. I was like, it was his birthday, so he was like, we're gonna go. He said, I know every time we say that we go, we never go. So I was like, okay. So I remember my first time going, it was a Friday night. I had got my shape up, I had got a freshman outfit, so I was looking really cute. So we went down there, and I was greeted by the door by a drag queen. And that was like my first time at, 17, like seeing the actual, drag queen in person. So I was like so fascinated. But as I went through the club, I noticed that there were like individuals who I just felt very welcome. So they just like welcomed everybody from gender bending to trans this to the most feminine male to the most masculine woman. So everybody just felt accepted. I just felt nothing but love and have a good time in space. So it was just one particular, so I was partying, having a good time, and it was one particular moment where I just saw everybody just move out the way. So I was like, what's going on? What's going on? And I just saw a drag queen just come hair whipping off the center of the stage and just did like a dip in the middle of the floor. And at the time I didn't know what it was. I just was so fascinated because that was my first time seeing like Vogan in live in person, and I was just so fascinated. I was just so captivated by it and seeing it. So I was like, oh my God, I was just addicted. So of course I started going every week to start seeing what it was about. And I started mimicking the moves. I would go home and find myself. Well, you know what? YouTube wasn't really popular as it. Yeah, it was more so like it was a guy that would come to the club and would sell like ball DVDs. So when he would come sell the DVDs, I would buy them and I would watch the balls and I would learn who the famous people was. I would learn about the different houses. And that's when I went to, they actually had their first ball there, and that was my first introduction into the ballroom scene.
Scooda and, oh, sorry, go ahead, Al.
I have a question. So, for someone that's, well, I'm familiar with it, but I'm not familiar with like the moves and things. So how do you guys earn points in order to win? Because I know it's a lot of moves where you do the dips on the floor and all that stuff, but we don't, I don't know how you count those points, because when we watch it, it's kind of hard to differentiate between points and, you know.
So what do you like the judge? If I'm the judge, I'm looking at which person do I like that is doing it better than the next
Entertaining
person.
you
Who's
better.
entertaining me? Who's catching my eye? Whatever the person is doing on the floor, like, am I focused on this individual? You're watching two people battle it out in whatever category they is, but you were focusing on the effect, what the effect look like, the presentation, how they're coming down, their attitude in it, how confident they are coming down, and that's how, for me, that's how I normally would judge a person or a battle. I would figure like, okay, well, your effect do look better, but he just ate you up in this performance, you know. But your confidence is real low, but yours is real high. So it's kind of like trying to figure out the two on which one you would like to pick the best. Like, well, no shade, grand prize.
Okay. Did I answer it?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Oh, sorry. Maybe go ahead. Oh, wait.
I don't know how you saw that.
I'm watching.
I was wondering about social media and ballroom culture, and like what's happening online. Are people like in different countries or different parts of the country here, and like what are those spaces like?
Well, we can give a round of applause to Vogue Evolution, the dance crew that took it to America's Best Dance Crew, because they like bridged this gap and opened up windows and doors for people like Tornado to go overseas. I think he's going to Paris or somewhere, to France, to go dance in Vogue. They have a ballroom scene in Paris. They always have kids. Japan. It's like, it's worldwide now. Like you go on YouTube and you search in Vogue, you see like little kids. They have little kids ballroom scene in Paris. I saw these little girls like battling and bending themselves better than I could, and I'm like, whoa.
Shout out to Madonna.
Like
Shout out to Madonna too. Like, you know. So I feel like the ballroom is not so much, you know, sheltered anymore. It's more so now, like, it's becoming a bigger thing. Like, it's becoming worldwide. It's becoming more household now. Everyone's, you know, everyone wants to learn how to Vogue. If I tell somebody I know how to Vogue, the first thing goes, teach me how to do that. Teach me how to do that drop. See how you do that drop. How you do that drop. It don't hurt. It don't hurt.
It hurts.
So yeah, social media has been like a good platform that has just like opened doors, connecting the countries and people who would never have even had access to Vogue before. So if you go on like YouTube, there's a mainstream channel called Ballroom Throwbacks, and that's one of the leading platforms for Vogue and to for just the ballroom culture in general. They have online interviews of different figures within the ballroom scene. You get to see actual balls. You get to see behind the scene cameos of actual things that happen before and after the ball. So they have things called aftermaths, and you see like people's reviews and feedbacks off of like what actually happened during the night. So
web series.
So the use of technology has like really been able to take an underground culture and make it into a mainstream culture.
How do you feel about it becoming mainstream? Like, didn't a lot of the roots come from it being underground and like this sort of resistance? Well, I just want to know, like, how do they feel about it becoming mainstream? Like, is it losing a lot of its touch, not being underground anymore? Because I know it started like with resistance and like activism and like community-based help for somebody who was homeless or somebody who wasn't accepted in their family. So how is the transition from it being mainstream now or popularized changing things?
I feel like it's helping a lot, the ballroom culture, because it's letting them know that it's not just underground, because before underground they would think of it as all in the bad aspect. They all drug users, they all just, all the bad stuff, all the negative. But now it's in the mainstream, and they're seeing the real raw talent of the people that come to the ball, the ones that can create something out of nothing, like costumes and effects that will blow your mind out of this world. Like, how can you, the creativity and the aspect of, someone's mind. And
I think more so it's positive and negative, because of course positive is they're opening a lot of doors and things like that for people to create careers off of this, because there's a lot of people that are part of the scene who went from being homeless and going through a lot of struggles and things like that, and we're able to do things out of this. But it's also kind of negative too, because you have the ballroom scene, the ones who are basically in charge of the underground scene, who take it and make it shady now. They make it a lot harder for people to, people with the real true raw talent to really get life. They make the ones who should be on top underdogs. And the ones who are underdogs, they make them on top. These are the ones that don't really have the real unique talent to be able to be on TV and do things like that and do shows and stuff like that. But being the fact that it's a girlfriend thing.
You can say it.
Yeah, being the fact that it's a girlfriend thing, they allow certain people to be able to just expand and do things that it's just not right.
I mean, so for me, when I think about it going mainstream, I equate it to how the breakdance culture was a underground culture that originated in New York and Harlem, Brooklyn, or one of the two, and now it's become mainstream. And when I see that as well within the rave culture, that was like an underground scene, but now it's somewhat mainstream. When I look at the ballroom scene, I like that it has been touched on by the mainstream, but the minus is you can easily go on YouTube and mimic the moves, but you don't understand the background as to why you're doing it. It's the originality within the piece, the component is missing. So you can just come up there and just, mimic somebody. A dancer naturally can just do anything, or when they see a trained eye, they can just do bodily moves. But if you don't know what you're feeling behind the movements, it doesn't make the connection. You lose that piece behind it, and that's the integrity piece that comes with, that's the integrity piece that you lose because of it being so mainstream.
Yeah, we watch and witness a lot of artists, their videos and things like that. They would take and imitate a lot of things that we've done. And it's kind of discrediting us, because it's these are things, some of the stuff that we do are just naturally is unique because it's ours. A lot of people can't imitate the things that we do. You're known for something that you do. That's how you create your image in the scene. So when you watch videos like Beyonce videos or something, and you see a certain head movement or a certain dance, like an 8 count, and you looking I know this is something I do. It's it's kind of okay, it's we don't really get too much credit for things like that. And that's the thing that I really don't appreciate.
Okay, we had a question over here and then right here.
Well, forget about social media, and it's funny how this thing has come full circle, because it's always been socialized. Before the gay community ever became a community within themselves, they used to call them cabarets, and the gay folk, Pendavis and all of them, they were actually giving cabarets for a room full of heterosexual people who used to come, and they get the favors, they bring their food, and they sit there, they eat, they drink all night, and the gay folk will put on a show. The other thing is that what I really see the negative side of it is that everybody's making money off of it but the people who invented it. Like when they say Madonna, when they say Madonna, I want to throw up, because I'm not envy her. I'm glad she did what she did. She took a handful of them and did it. What I would like to see come out of the gay community, especially the underworld, with the balls and things in the houses, is that somehow they come together and organize it so people can stop abusing them and using them,
and they can go out there and take their own art form and make people pay them for what they're really truly worth. Because what you guys do and what you girls do is, that's hard. Like you said, people, you can go on YouTube and see, I said, oh, they're not doing nothing. I said, if I had, back then they wouldn't even give it a 9. See, back in my day, they got 8, 9s, and 10s. They wouldn't get an 8.5. So, you know, so my point is that I hope that someday you guys, the reason why I ask those questions of you is because, number one, there are still a lot of people in the ballroom scene who've been there for 2,000 years that need to go.
Yes, yes.
I've always said this. I wrote this in a blog and everything years ago. And I think we need to stop stifling our young people and lift them up. And give them the opportunity to do something and bring the houses back to its original form of what it really truly stands for, because the houses were nothing negative. They were something positive. Young, gay kids from all denominations of life are thrown out of their mainstream, and mainstream was their families. Because for a black person to have a gay child in their family, it was like swimming up river with an anchor on your neck. They didn't want nothing to do with you because they had enough problems getting jobs and fighting all the other legal stuff that we had to fight for as people. So I just would hope that one day that you all guys would come together and find a way to organize it so that, what's your name again with that hat on? What's the freelancer and you were the one I saw up there. Yeah. See, maybe sometime we got to stop doing things for free, stop doing things in public, unless you're supporting something. And I hope you guys come tonight at 7 o'clock, because I can give you a long history of how even the Fireball started from. You gave part of the reason why it started, but we have a lot of history that we can share with you, and I think it needs to be shared, because that's one of our problems as black folks is we don't share, and we don't write down our histories. And I think that tonight maybe we can be able to get a little bit more insight on what a lot of this stuff was actually birthed from.
The original new form of the houses. So when we reference the houses, we're referencing like the houses like the house of Balenciaga, the house of Chanel. So that's what it's called, the house. So these infrastructures were created to take in like young kids that would be kicked out of their home. So it was not an actual house. It was more so a group of people, a support system that you would
people in one apartment.
Yes. So it would be like a support system somewhere that you could go to if you was ever in need, or if something ever was to happen to you. So they had this system where it was like a mother and a father, and you would go to them, you would tell them what was going on. If you had stresses or problems, not all negative things, but good things are produced from it as well. So that's where the houses originally formed from. It was just like your clique, your posse. This is my family that I go to if my biological family does not accept me.
But then in 2015, you have certain houses now that's built around a lot of shade. They don't take just anybody. You got to be built for some of these houses, because all houses don't accept just anyone. You got to fit that criteria. You got to be that person for that house. Like the Ebony have a certain style.
That goes with the different tiers of houses too. So because different houses represent different things. Okay. So of course, so you think about when you comparing it to a basketball team, it's much more harder to get on the Lakers as opposed to another team. I ain't gonna say any other team I want to say.
Right.
We got a question right here, then Mr. Creel.
Well, I have a comment. The performance I have it earlier because I know that a lot of the students will be going to class earlier than the 4 o'clock time limit. So I thought we may move the performance up before they leave. I'm sure they'll what you're talking about.
So we've pretty much covered everything. Before we go into the performances, we haven't really talked about the music and where the music comes from. When the average person hears, somebody who's not in the scene, hears Vogue, they think Madonna Vogue, and that's the music, but I'm sure it sounds completely different than what you guys are dancing to. So who are the people behind the music?
Oh, different DJs, different.
Yeah. So ballroom music is more so like house music. It's like a combination between like techno and house music. So some of like the DJs that's like DJ Mike Q, DJ Vaughn Allure, Angel X, DJ Carlton. Those are like some of the people that you can. God bless you. Those are some of the people that you can go on YouTube. You type in their names. You can like listen if you want to. If you want to do a little bit more background and just hear like some of the music that they're referring to.
And it just makes you want to move.
And then also you have someone commentating on the mic. You have someone talking, commentating on the mic while the music is playing. You have someone counting, saying, chanting, just saying whatever. And then also that makes you also feel it. If you have a good commentator that's like, making you feel it, you just pay everything and then you just start feeling the beat. That's how I feel when I if I have a commentator and he's like, I say, summoning the demons out of me, I'm going crazy. Like, you just be like, oh my gosh, like it really feels like he's calling something out of you, or she, calling something out of you that's just bringing that part of you that you just want to just let out, unleash the beast. Like, you just want to go crazy. So that's how I feel.
Actually, as a moderator, can I squeeze a super quick question in before you? I just want to go back to something Scooda said about the globe and ask about the geography of the scene, especially locally in Newark. Like, where does the scene go down? Like, where's the ballroom scene happening in Newark?
So, great question. Great question. So, the African Globe was located downtown Newark, and that probably have been in existence.
The Globe been open forever.
Yeah, it's been open since maybe like 10 years before I even knew about its existence. But that venue actually closed down after 2010. It was about like 2010. And after that, Newark LGBT nightlife scene hasn't really been the same ever since. So they've had like venues that will pop up here and there, but nothing has really been consistent as far as like LGBTQ nightlife within the Newark community. They've tried to have like something consistent, but nothing hasn't really been as consistent and as long as, maybe the Globe, other than Murphy's that I know about, that has like longevity within the Newark community. Other than that, they're trying to, the Kiki scene was the prevalent scene in Jersey for a while. That's where it was like a lot of action. If you went into ballroom action, that's where you would actually go. But now with the Fireball and other events that's being established and taking place next year, we're going to see a bigger prevalence of not only ballroom culture, but more of the LGBTQ nightlife scene. The old style of Madonnas. And these two have more of a new school style of Vogue, and that's with the style that looks very fast. It has a lot of gymnastics, a lot of flips, a lot of aerobics. And Tyra is going to walk a runway for you.
Oh,
guys.
yeah, I can do that in a skirt. I can do that.
What? Gimme, ooh, ow. Gimme, I. Gimme, I, Scooda. Well, let's see. Take me back to the old town way. Take me back to yesterday. Take me back to the old town way. Just take me back now. Eat your knocker, serve your doctor. Your body's in a battleground, bitch. Your body's in a battleground, bitch. Your body's in a battleground. Eat your knocker, serve your doctor. Your body's in a battleground, baby. Your body's in a battleground, baby. Your body's in a battleground.
been doing that maybe about like 7 to 8 battles.
Like battling someone now.
Battle with someone simultaneously. So it's a lot of energy, it's a lot of trained skills. So I mean, you can see the technique, that practice that it takes, and the discipline that it takes to actually, learn and to perfect your craft in order to, achieve the different art hierarchies that in the ballroom community.
And you can see that it's different for each person.
Yeah, we had a different style of Vogue.
So it's like your interpretation of how you want to express yourself. And, as I was directing them, I was like, I was saying, oh, here's the new contender. So the commentator, which I was at the moment, they actually, they give the announcements, they tell the direction of they actually informing the crowd of what's going on. Right. So that's why I was saying, now you guys judge and clap and stuff, that was like ending the scene. And so it just more so less like coordinating to what the guy is saying and the music and performances.
Just like as an idea, if you guys taught a class, I bet it would be full. Really?
I've taught. See, the
Make that
thing is,
money?
we don't have a lot of resources with venues and stuff like that. Because we have our own little dance crew that people see us perform and then they'll come. Pass us a card. We call ourselves the last minute crew because everyone always asks us to perform last minute. So we're like, we're going to call ourselves the last minute crew. So, if you guys do want that and you guys have a space, we won't mind coming down here and teaching it.
Yes, we will.
I speak for the Women in Gender Studies Department. We would love for you guys to have an event where you teach. And it would just be awesome.
We can definitely do that.
Another person from the scene, like maybe from New York or something, to come and help structure it. We can do a lot of stuff like that.
Keep in contact with.
And don't forget, you guys can come out Saturday to the Fireball and see a real live ball in person to get the actual experience of the ballroom culture.
You'll see all of us live in action.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm voguing.
We probably won't be like this. We'll be dressed in our costumes.
Yeah, trust me.
He can't be.
Once we affected, you won't even recognize us.
You had a question? You guys are awesome, and
Thank you.
really respect what you guys do. And it looks like it's a lot of work.
You see us up here like, whoo.
Exactly. It looks like it's a lot of work, but it's something that's beautiful. Like, it's art, and I really, really, really do respect that. I think that is so awesome.
So imagine, right, that I'm the only 007 and all of these are house members, all in the same house, and I have to battle. I'm the only one now, and I have to battle all of them by myself.
So what a 007 means is a term agent used as like a free agent. He doesn't belong to any particular team or house. So that's what the term 007 means. Or sometimes people say 007 or free agent. So right now, as a free agent, he can be able to scout different houses. He can see what's of interest to him on the market, what house he wants to join.
Just not Ebony.
She blacklisted me from her house, and she told them why I want to come there. They asked for me.
But thank you all for coming out. We had an amazing time. Thank you for having us. I'm looking forward to seeing some of you guys Saturday.
All of you guys Saturday.
Yeah. And once again, you guys can find some more information through WIT and the Women's and Gender Studies program. You guys can also go online on YouTube. You guys can type in Ballroom Throwbacks. You can find clips of all of us. You can just type in our name.
Mindy, if you type in Mindy Elite, I come up. A lot of clips.
And most of all,
and we want to give a special thanks.
Fireball is raising money for scholarships.
Oh yeah.
So you can go on COF Awards Newark. That COF stands for Circle of Friends. COFAwardsNewark.com and buy your ticket or give us a donation and look forward to our awards. And there is one award. I've been one of the lucky people. I was a dean here, a dean of students here some years ago, and there is an award under the Women and Gender Studies program in my honor, Dean James Creedle. So one of the awards given to students each year is the Dean James Creedle Award, and we give out at least 5 awards of $1,000 each. Oh! And so we'll be looking forward to supporting our efforts, and the funds from the Fireball will be used to support that program. So thank you.
Hold on, James. Hold on as well. So, you know, you get a standing ovation. And Marilyn. Oh, yes, and Marilyn as well. And Whit as well.
Thank you guys for performing. I was losing my husband.
She walked in like, what do I win?
We're doing all of the heavy lifting.
Oh, yes. Give Christina.